Hey everyone, welcome. Today, we're going to talk about something really cool, a totally different way to look at the buildings all around you. It's a framework that asks us to see them not just as, brick and mortar, but as stories.
So, let me start by asking you something. Have you ever walked into a space and just felt right at home, like instantly? And then, on the flip side, have you ever been somewhere and felt totally unwelcome, like, whoa, this place was not made for me? Just think about that feeling for a sec. What's the real difference there?
Well, here's the thing. Buildings are never neutral. It turns out they're all designed with a specific point of view. And that point of view can either swing the doors wide open and say, come on in, or it can build these invisible walls that keep people out.
Okay, so that brings us to our first big idea, spaces with a story. We're going to see how we can move beyond just the blueprints and the boring technical stuff and really start designing with human experience right at the heart of it all. And this whole conversation couldn't be happening at a more important time. With all the intense debate and frankly backlash around equity, diversity, and inclusion, or EDI initiatives, the world of architecture is facing this huge question. How are we supposed to build for everyone when society itself is kind of wrestling with how to even do that?
This quote from architect Brian C. Lee Jr. really just nails it. It's a total call to action. The goal isn't just to build something. It's to intentionally create spaces that lift people up instead of oppressing them, that include rather than exclude, and that actually honor all the different ways we experience the world instead of just erasing them. This is our North Star for today.
Okay, so how do we take this amazing idea and actually make it practical? Well, that leads us to a whole new kind of design blueprint, one that's built from the ground up on these principles of EDI.
And what's really key here is that this isn't about new building codes or some fancy new material. Nope, it's a 4-step framework for a completely new way of thinking. It all starts with a core philosophy of inclusion. Then it uses storytelling as its main tool. After that, it totally redefines what an architect even does. And finally, it shows how to put it all into practice.
I love this analogy. It's just perfect. Think about it this way. Traditional design, it's like a textbook. It's all about facts, measurements, super rigid structures. But this new EDI framework, it's more like a biography. It focuses on the unique stories, the struggles, and the triumphs of the actual people who are going to use the space. You can't write the story without listening to the person first, right?
So that leads us right into this massive shift where the architect becomes less of a designer and more of a listener. This isn't just about changing what gets built, it's about changing the very job description of an architect.
And listen to this. The story of architect Sofarn Olsen is such a powerful example. Her quote says it all. Where we come from shapes the mission we carry forward. Her family survived the Khmer Rouge genocide in Cambodia and came to the US as refugees. That incredible experience, that story, became the driving force behind her mission as an architect. It's what led her to Auburn University's amazing rural studio.
Her journey is the perfect embodiment of this idea of the citizen architect. It's a term that comes from this belief that everyone, no matter who you are or how much money you have, deserves, and I quote, a shelter for the soul. So a citizen architect, their role isn't just to design a cool-looking object. It's to be a public servant, someone who actually fosters community and leads change with their work.
Okay, this all sounds great in theory, but what does it actually look like in the real world? Let's check out how people are already putting this framework into practice, turning these stories into real structures and programs.
Here are a couple of awesome examples that are already making waves. First up, Pascal Sablan's Say It Loud exhibitions. These spotlight underrepresented designers and their amazing work. And then there's the Reform Tennessee podcast, which is a space for architects to share their personal stories about mentorship and what the culture is really like.
And one of the biggest things that came out of that podcast was just how isolating it can be to work in this field. You hear architects from underrepresented groups talking about how tough it is when you look around and there's just no one in a leadership position who looks like you or who gets the unique challenges you're facing.
And get ready for this. This number really puts it all into sharp focus. Only 1%, just 1% of architects in the US are Black women. Let that sink in for a second. 1%. A number like that shows you exactly why this stuff, storytelling, visible mentorship, it's not just a nice to have. It is absolutely crucial if we're ever going to build a truly inclusive profession.
Okay, so this brings us to the final and maybe most important part. What can we actually do? How can all of us, whether you're an architect or not, help build a more inclusive world? Well, here are 6 real, practical ways to embrace storytelling.
And the great thing is, these are steps anyone can take. You can get together in dialogue groups. You can cultivate mentorship for someone else. You can use your social media to elevate stories that aren't being heard. Or you can be brave and share your own story. It also means asking the tough questions, inquiring to find out where the equity gaps are. And hey, maybe even creating your own storytelling program.
So, I want to leave you with one final question to carry with you. The next time you're out and about, just look around. At the buildings, the parks, the streets where you live. Ask yourself, what story does this place tell? And maybe even more importantly, whose story is it leaving out?